John, Shannon, Landon, Ferraro, another edition of 100% Canucks. Ty Mueller, who was a really integral role in the Abbotsford Canucks winning the Calder Cup last year, will join us in a few moments. But I say this with a huge smile on my face. Landon, the preseason is over.
That is that is very welcomed words right there.
It's I've talked to on radio and TV in about 20 markets in the last 5 days, and everybody's lamenting the same thing. The only thing, there are three things that really kind of gave the preseason a jolt. Marc-Andre Fleury's great night in Pittsburgh last Saturday, and then the fights in Quebec City between the Senators and the Canadiens, and the fights on Thursday night between Florida and Tampa. I mean, you're not supposed to fight in the preseason.
The crazy part, too, is the majority of the guys involved in both of those are like legit NHL guys. It's not the young guys trying to, make a point and show what they could do. It's the guys that have been played in the league for a number of years already. And clearly those two teams, on each different pairing there are trying to kind of set the tone for the season here, because that was unexpected.
Well, to the point where rarely do you say, gosh, I can't believe I missed that game. I'm kind of disappointed, but yeah. I'm sorry. The preseason next year is going to be 11 days of camp when you think about arrivals and departures, but 11 days of camp, 4 preseason games, and then they're going to drop the puck on an 84-game schedule. That's next year. But between now and then, that. Yeah, I think players will too, don't you?
I really think so. I think the only people that it affects in I'll say, somewhat negative way are the bubble guys that are trying to make that push from the American League to the NHL and make opening night rosters. Like, it's a little tougher there because you just don't have as big of a runway. You don't have as many exhibition games that you get into. So, like, it's tough for those guys in a sense, but I think overall, it's people are going to be very happy about this.
One of those guys that started in Canucks camp and ended up in 3 days ago in Abbotsford's camp is Ty Mueller. What do you remember him during your time around the Abbotsford team on their Calder Cup run?
A tenacious player. Like, he is hounding the puck every time that he's on the ice. He's good defensively. He's pretty good in the face-off dot as well. But especially once he gets up the ice, the puck gets chipped in. You know how playoff hockey gets, and things get really tight. You got to start really dumping the puck in and into good spots, and he could get into a forecheck and deliver a good solid hit, multiple times a game. Like, you could see kind of fed off the energy that you go hit the guy and you could hear your bench kind of banging their sticks and yelling. Like, you could see he fed off that. He had 3 or 4 points in the 6 games in the finals. Like, he's a guy that can chip in, and he scored a big goal in game 1. They were down 3-1. They get to 3-2. He gets the 3rd goal to tie it before they end up winning in double overtime. Like, he's involved all over. But again, I think for him, it's like the tenacity on the puck. Like, he wants that thing back.
Yeah, you were very kind not to mention scoring in his own net.
Well, I figured I'd save that for him. It was one of the cleanest, best face-offs I've ever seen at any level. The problem was it was in his own net, and Shelovs was facing the other direction.
Well, we'll have to ask him about it. That'll be your job. My job will be just to make sure that he doesn't think I'm just the old man on the show, and you guys can talk about what it was like playing for the Calder Cup. Ty Mueller joins Landon and me after this on 100% Canucks.
I won't keep you long. Darren Millard with a tip for everyone who loves great hockey podcasts like this one. John, Shannon, and I host the OG of 100% Hockey, coming your way multiple times a week. The guest list is the best you will find. Multiple shows a week ensures you won't miss out on any news, and we dig even deeper into the biggest stories around the NHL. Most of our guests are also friends, so I promise there'll be more conversation beyond the X's and the O's. John really does get bored with that after a while. So join us for 100% Hockey. The name says it all. Subscribe now while you enjoy thinking about it, and enjoy.
Welcome back to 100% Canucks, joined by Abbotsford Canucks forward Ty Mueller. Welcome to the show, Ty.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So I've got to ask you, how would you describe this journey after being a fourth-round pick in 2023? What were your expectations, and have they been exceeded, or where do you feel you are in that journey?
Yeah, well, first of all, I don't necessarily have expectations. I like to call them goals instead. I don't really expect anything just to happen. So far with last year and everything and how it's been, I've been pretty happy with how it's gone, and I'm excited to get this year started and keep trending in that right direction. So
when you say goals, the goal is to make the big club, I would assume.
Yeah, of course.
And I got to ask you, so last year at the end of the season, you got to play 2 games with the NHL Canucks. What was that like for you?
Oh, it was awesome. Super cool. I mean, that's what you play for growing up. Every little kid wants to play in the NHL, so to be able to do that and get a couple of games there was super awesome, and just made me want it that much more and to get up there and stick. So,
you know, your last year at UNO, your associate coach was Dave Noel Bernier. I had him as an assistant in Grand Rapids, and he was on a scouting trip in Langley where I was coaching. And as we got towards the end of it, he brought up your name, talking about you turning pro the next year. And he's like, you know, this is a guy that's going to surprise a lot of people. Like, he's got the full game behind him, but he's got offense there. Like, he really spoke highly of you. And then to see you play last year, like, you're an energy guy, and you scored some big goals, especially in the playoffs. Like, when you look at your game, what are your best attributes, and like, what are you trying to bring each and every night?
Just exactly that. I want to be skating every night, forechecking, getting pucks back, winning battles. I pride myself on the defensive side of the game, and being able to defend and keep pucks out of our own net too is big for me. The offense is something I still want to work on and get better at and produce a little bit more, but I mean, it's there. I think I just need to dial in a couple things, and hopefully that'll get going.
Ryan Johnson tells me you have deceiving speed. Have you always had deceiving speed?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I've always been told it doesn't look like I'm working very hard when I'm skating, but I promise I am.
I've got to wonder, there's starting to be a Sherwood Park pipeline to the Vancouver Canucks. You're there, Braden Coots is there, so the amount of guys that are coming out of Edmonton. Jake DeBrusk's an Edmonton kid. There's a lot of Edmonton blood in the Canucks these days. That's I would assume you started as an Oiler fan, not a Canuck fan.
Well, yeah, maybe when I was younger.
Wait, who did you like watching when you were watching NHL?
When I was younger, to be honest, one of my favorite guys to watch was Nugent Hopkins. I just thought he played that full 200-foot game and did a good job of it.
And so when I tell you one day you're going to play head-to-head against Ryan Nugent Hopkins, what would that mean?
Yeah, it's kind of surreal. It's pretty crazy to think about it, looking at it like that.
Going into your first year pro, what you talk about goals, like what were some of your goals, or what were your thoughts going into the year of trying to get in there and cement yourself in the lineup and play a good amount of games, which you certainly ended up succeeding at?
Yeah, just carrying over from college. I mean, they did a good job there teaching me kind of what it takes to get to that next level, and make sure you're treating every day as a new day and a chance to get a little bit better. So I think that was huge for me, and it's something I still do every single day. I wake up and go to the rink and make sure I'm practicing with purpose and taking care of my body to put myself in the right position to be successful.
What would you say the hardest part of the transition from college to pro was in your first year?
Probably just the number of games. It's a big step up from that school playing, 35, 40 games a year. And then all of a sudden you're playing 3-4 games a week, some weeks, and then getting all the way up to 72 or 74 or whatever it is. It's a lot of different games, or a lot more games, and it's definitely a little bit more taxing on the body. And that's part of being a pro, is learning how to take care of your body with that many games and make sure you're doing the right things.
After exhibition games last year was 88 games for you when you put in the Calder Cup playoffs and the regular season in Abbotsford. What was that time like throughout the playoffs? How much fun was that?
Oh, it was a blast. It was some of the funnest hockey I've played in my career so far. And one of the coolest things I thought was just seeing how bad every single guy wanted it and going to the rink every day and seeing just how much more intense it felt. It was still loose. Like we had a great group of guys who still had fun and whatnot, but you could tell there was a different level there in regards to winning and competing.
Did you have any clue that what the Calder Cup was before you started that journey?
Yeah. No, I knew what it was.
Okay, some guys probably don't. Some guys are
John,
probably so focused.
I'll be honest. I knew that the name was the Calder Cup. I couldn't tell you what the trophy looked like before we were well on our way through that playoff series.
Do you get a day with the Calder Cup, Ty?
Yeah, I had it. When did I have it? Towards the end of August, I think, around August 20th or something like that. And I brought it down to the rink in Cochrane and showed it to some of the younger kids. They had some summer programs going on there, and answered a few questions for them on how. And then we had a bunch of people over at my parents' house, just people who supported me through hockey, old coaches, whatever, friends, family. It was awesome.
Well, so tell us about your love of the game. When did you really think? At what age did you think you could make this a career?
It's a really hard question.
That's what we do on this show. We ask tough questions, Ty. That's our job, man.
Yeah, when you're younger, obviously you think you can do anything, right? So, like growing up, I always loved hockey. I think I started skating around when I was 2, and I was playing hockey by 4 or 5, and ever since then, like I've loved doing it. It's awesome. For me, it just gives you a break from the real world. You go out there, play a game, and just have fun. And then you get a little older, it gets a little more serious, so you keep going, and you're like, man, maybe I am kind of good at this, and have a chance. And then I'd say probably around 15 or 16, I had an idea that maybe I could make a living off this and have it be my job, which was my dream from the start. So I think that's probably when it started. I mean, I had no idea I'd end up this far or be in this situation, but I had goals.
I'm curious. Did you get drafted in the bantam draft in the dub, or did they know that you were destined for college hockey?
Yeah, I got drafted to Prince George in the 3rd round.
And how was that a bit of a tempting situation, or did you know that you were better off going to the AJ and then on to college hockey?
It's very tempting. I mean, especially back then, it wasn't very common for Canadian kids to go to school. There wasn't many, so all your buddies are signing these contracts and going and playing in the Western League, and it's pretty cool. But at the same time, I kind of always knew I might need a little bit more time to develop and focus more on other things rather than jumping into that many games right away and being able to build a foundation and get some more practice. So I like the idea of the school route, and I'm happy with the decision I made.
How nice was it when, the Vancouver makes that trade with New York last year and Mancini ends up coming over? You guys played 3 years together at college. Was that was that exciting to see him walk through the door and become a part of this franchise as well?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So our freshman year, we were in the same class. There was 4 of us, and so we all lived together in the same dorm, and so we knew each other really well, good buddies. But like you said, played 3 years together. And as soon as I saw the trade news, I texted him. I said, "When are you getting in?" he was pretty fired up and excited to get going. So
who had the better grades between you two?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know.
Or were you guys doing his group project for everything?
We gotta help each other out sometimes. But.
And then to have him along on the journey through the Calder Cup would have been fun as well, right?
Yeah, that was awesome.
I mean, that's a group of guys, and a lot of guys are gone now, but that's a group of guys that will forever be known as a championship team. So how much does that mean to you?
It means a ton. Winning it's hard to do. Found that out last year. But yeah, it's super special to think about that. Even there's little things like the song we would play before we walked out of the dressing room, and just now every time I'm going to hear that song, that's what I'm going to think about, is that group of guys and what we did. So it's super cool.
You know, when we had Manny on and RJ on, they talked about a weekend in Laval that didn't go very well. You guys had a meeting, like a players only meeting, and things really took a turn from there. Fast forward a little bit, like you guys finished the last 20 games 17-2-1 with a 13-game win streak. Like clearly things were clicking. Like, was there a point in that stretch going into playoffs that you're like, you know what, we actually have a team that can do this? Or was it you're just kind of in it and you don't even really know what's going on? You just keep going to the next game?
Yeah, no, from the beginning of the year, I knew we were going to have a good team. Like the players that were coming and playing, I thought from the start. I was talking to Sass one day, and I was like, we might have a chance to win this thing this year. And yeah, we started out the year not too great, and I wasn't very worried because we had good players, and I knew we were good enough to win games. And then yeah, we had that meeting, and something started to click, and we just started buzzing. Everyone was firing on all cylinders, and then playoffs rolls around. It's that first round being only 3 games is, I don't want to say a throw up, like a toss up, but it makes it tough with you only get 3 chances. So that was a tough one. But as soon as I think we got out of that round, I had no doubt that we were going to go all the way.
The other aspect of this is coming out of playing at Nebraska Omaha and then joining Abbotsford. You talked about the amount of games, but you're also now going to play against guys that aren't your same age. Some of them could be 10 years older than you. Mm-hmm. How do you manage that? Because it is a different world, college versus pro. And how did you meet that on face first?
To be honest, like I guess that's another thing, is just how much bigger and stronger everyone is. Because once you get out of school, was the best players that were at school.
Right.
So that's another aspect, like you said, that it was tough at first, but like once you get adjusted, at least for me, and just being more intense, bringing more intensity and being ready for bigger and stronger and faster players, it didn't take too long to get used to.
How long do you think before Christmas you felt you were at that level?
Yeah, I think so.
And the other thing is, so knowing everything you know now, how much weight did you put on this summer, and when did you go back on the ice?
To be honest, I stay pretty much at the same weight all the time. I'm right around 205 pounds. And for me, that's heavy enough. I don't need to be any heavier. There's a balance you got to find between fast and strong. So that's where I stayed with that. And then I ended up getting back on the ice at the beginning of August. Took a couple of weeks off just to let everything reset. And unfortunately, at the end of August, I ended up injuring myself on the ice, but not much you can do about that.
I was going to ask you, so you win Game 6 in Charlotte. You have that great night with all the guys. At what point the next day or two did you start to feel everything that was kind of hurting on the body? Like, I remember that when you go through that stretch, you're going on adrenaline, and then all of a sudden the games are done and you start to feel everything. Like, what was it like going from 40 games to 90 and playing? And you guys played an aggressive style too, and you got on forechecks good. Like, your body was put through a good amount. What was that like, and what was that feeling?
It was taxing. It was relief that we were done playing. Yeah. Even I remember throughout the whole run, there was guys beat up the entire time. Whatever, just little bumps and bruises. Our trainers were busy every day, 24 hours a day. Like, it was crazy. And then after that, you kind of settle down a little bit, and you're sitting there and you realize, man, my body hurts. So it took a couple weeks off, and then I was seeing physio a bunch this summer to get things back in shape and ready to go.
And what, going into your second year of pro now, like, what were you focusing on this summer? What was a part of your game that you really wanted to try and elevate?
I think for me, just like some puck touches and a little. I feel like I can be a lot cleaner with certain touches and just handling different passes or making plays off the yellow or just little things like that. I think are something I really try to focus on this summer.
And is that you played 2 games with the NHL squad last year? Your expectation is what to play? How many this year with the big team?
It's hard to say. I mean, I don't have an expectation to.
No, I use that word again. I'm sorry. What's your goal?
I mean, my goal is the next time I go up just to stick. And so we'll see. We'll see how many that gets me, but that's the goal.
What was Manny like as a coach?
He's awesome, especially being a centerman. Being able to learn little face-off things from him. Obviously, he played a ton of games, so he knows what he's talking about. And yeah, he's personal with the guys. He knew when to be intense or when to hold back and let us handle things. So that was really good.
You scored in game 1 of the finals to tie it at 3 before something that I've never seen before. Like, you had one of the cleanest face-off wins. Problem is, it was into your own net when Shelovs was facing the other way, and they end up calling it off, and Klimovich scores a few moments later to win game 1 in double overtime. What did you think, or what went through your head first when you turned around and the puck was in your own net?
I was just in shock. Because as a centerman, you're supposed to look around, make sure everyone's ready, and I do that 99% of the time. And this one face-off when already was not quite ready, I decided I wasn't going to do that for some reason. I win the face-off and look back, and it's in the net. And I don't know.
It was a good face-off win. Like, you cleaned it right back.
Yeah. I don't know. That was a tough one.
Was that something that, like, did you guys talk about that after? Meaning, like, not that you got a check or something like that, but just like, hey, we got kind of lucky here, or like going into game 2, was there any talk about that, or just push it behind you and move on?
Yeah, I'll just push it behind us. I mean, obviously, I'm sure guys were thinking, man, but Manny gave me a little jab too. I think we just left it behind and kept going, getting ready for that. So.
Are you telling me there weren't any barbs over the next couple of days, particularly after you won the game and then were able to win the championship? They weren't all over you for the rest of that round of the playoffs?
No, not too bad.
I don't know. They let you off easy then, Ty.
You should have just told Manny, you taught me too much in the face-off dot. Like, you made me too good.
Hey, what's it like to see some of your teammates from that club have a really good chance to make the Vancouver team? And when you look at, Mancini won There's Carlson. There's a few other guys, Baines. When you look and see that those are your former teammates that are going to play for Vancouver, what does that mean to you?
It's just really cool to see. Those guys are all really good friends of mine, and I'm happy for them going up there and getting that chance and accomplishing a dream of theirs. It also just kind of shows like the development that we have down here, and that you have a chance to get better and go and make the big club.
Sorry, go.
No, you go, Landon.
I was just gonna say, like, going into this year, like, I know I've kind of already asked it, but like, what is your goal? Obviously, to get back really skating and get yourself ready to play games. But once you're back, like, what is, I want to go from this line to this line, or I want to get my minutes up. Like, where do you think you want to push to try and get yourself into an even better position to play games again?
I think just intensity in general in practice. I think I want to focus even harder on that this year and make sure I'm doing every rep with a purpose. I'm shooting every shot to score and doing everything in practice with purpose. I think if I do that, I think I'll have no problem moving up, whatever, in the lineup or to the big club. So
I'm curious. Canucks management always talks about, we need to go get another center, where we're looking at a second center. You're in Abbotsford saying, hey, I'm a center. When you hear that, when that phrase comes up that the Canucks are out there looking, does it ever jump into your mind, well, listen, that's going to be my job one day?
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal, right? If I can be that guy, then that's who I want to be. So,
like, having gone through playing that many games last year, like, again, personally, like, what I learned about myself was how far I could push my body, like, more than I ever knew that I could. I never played that many games. Like, having that, I imagine you had the same kind of feeling once you were kind of reflecting on it. How can you implement that into your game of knowing that you have more in the tank all the time, really?
Yeah, I think one of the big things, man, is on me all playoffs was using my body more. But obviously that's taxing playing a lot of minutes too. So it's a hard balance, but I started doing it and realized that I could do it. And I think that's something I want to implement more into my game too, is a little bit more of a physical aspect.
It's interesting. I mean, it makes sense. Like, you got through a lot of guys, and again, like the Abbotsford team, you guys played with a lot of physicality, and it seemed the more physical a game was, the better you guys played. Like, could you feel that momentum, and were you guys feeding off each other? Because it from up in the booth, it really seemed like that.
Yeah, 100%. Especially like you get Blazer going out there and running a guy over, and the whole arena screaming his name, and I think everybody fed off that. So it definitely played our advantage and was a big part of our run.
You've been on the ice with the Abbotsford group for 3 days now. What do you see with this group, and what do you think can happen this season in the American League for Abbotsford?
Yeah, it'll be an exciting year. Lots of new faces. It's tough to say yet. We've kind of just been going over some system stuff and getting everyone kind of acclimated. So, but I think if we put our minds to it and really dial it in, I think we can have a good team again.
I'm curious. Everybody talks about how the proximity of Abbotsford to Vancouver. Do you ever? First of all, I'm not ever sure there is an off night for you guys once the season starts. But do you ever get one of those nights where you go in and watch the big club?
I didn't last year at all. I think a couple guys might have, but it's busy. Like, it's still an hour drive, so usually if you got an off night, you kind of just want to take it easy and hang out. So.
Well, listen, it's great to talk to you. Everybody in the organization has raved about what you did for Abbotsford last year in your role in winning the Calder Cup, and we can only wish you the best on getting an opportunity in the near future to win a Stanley Cup.
Awesome. I appreciate it.
That's Ty Mueller. Landon and I'll be back after this on 100% Canucks.
All right, listen up. Today I want to talk about giving 110%. Giving 100% means giving everything you got. Giving 110% means giving 10% more than is humanly possible. If we're going to win as a team, we need 100% of you guys giving 110% 100% of the time. If only 50% of you guys give 110% and 50% of you guys give 100%, I guarantee you 100%, we'd only win 50% of our games. Suppose 75% of the 110% gave only 50%, and 50% of the 100% gave 25%, and 75% of the 110% were not feeling 100%, then we'd be in a heap of trouble. That's why we need 100% of you guys giving 110% 100% of the time. Okay. Let's go out and play some hockey.
So, Landon, let's call a spade a shovel. Can Ty Mueller be a Vancouver Canuck one day?
I think so. I think that, he could be a really good penalty killer. He could be an energy guy. Someone that can get put in the lineup. He's a hard forechecker, good puck retrieval guy. We talked about wanting to get his offense a little better, but like you saw it last year, like he has some offensive pieces in him and could score and get himself involved that way. But I don't think there's any reason that he can't be a contributor for this organization at the top level at some point here.
Well, every army needs soldiers. Yeah. Not everybody's going to be a general. So when you look at what he's never been a huge goal scorer in his career, whether it be in the Alberta Junior League, whether it be at the University of Nebraska Omaha, or even last year in Abbotsford. He only had 12 goals in 64 games. So he's obviously doing a lot more right without the puck than he is with the puck, correct?
He's one of those guys that I feel like it doesn't matter what level he's at, he plays the exact same game. And I think that's a really good thing. Like, so many guys are big scorers in the American League, but when they are getting their chance in the NHL, it's got to be in a PK role or just a depth forward. Like, it's tough to get their reps to get back to that score, big scoring guy. Like, for Mueller, he's the same player everywhere he goes because his game is simple in a sense. It's hard work. It's chasing down pucks. It's blocking shots. It's hitting. It's being in the right position, not cheating for offense. Like, he will do that in Vancouver just like he does in Abbotsford, and he does it really well.
I talked to Ryan Johnson today about him, and he was extolling his virtues as someone with a great work ethic, someone who is a lot faster than he looks. But he told me the story about they were in Laval for a second time, not the original Laval meeting that is now been made famous by this club. And he had to stay over in order to be told whether or not he was going to join Vancouver for those 2 games late in the season. And quite frankly, he looked at Ryan Johnson in disbelief because he never thought there'd be a chance for anybody of his ilk in the first year as a pro to get to the NHL, even for those 2 games. And he took it in stride, and I think that was a really fascinating move to put that carrot in front of him to say, if you work hard, you can make the NHL, and we will give you a little bit of a snippet of what it's going to be like by playing those 2 games at the end of the season. So it's he's not the biggest talker, but he's certainly, I would say, is genuine in his desire to be a great hockey player.
Yeah, and something like, as much as, he's not going to sit here and hold court and tell stories and all of that. Like, that's just not really him, but you can see the thought and process that he puts into his game. Like, you said the word expectation.
Yeah.
And he kind of smiled, but he instantly said, he's like, I don't like to use that word. I like to have goals. I don't have any expectations. And just a little something like that. One, that sounds like a Mannyism right there. Like that's something I could picture Manny saying to those guys. But like Ty takes that and he's now using it, and you can see it in how he interacts at the rink around his teammates on the ice, doing all these things that he's willing to put in the work all over because he has a goal and he wants to achieve it. And that is, like he said, the next time he gets called up, he wants to stay. Yeah. He wants to be there. And you can see that drive in him. And as an organization, that's a sentence right there that you could, RJ or Patrick Alvin could hear a clip of that and say, like, that's why this guy's in our organization. Like, you got to be really happy and honestly probably proud of hearing that out of him.
Well, 4th round pick in 2023 and a valuable member of the Abbotsford team that won a championship last year. Next time we're together, Landon, it will be a countdown to the start of the regular season. We should probably know what the roster's like for the Vancouver Canucks. And then we can start to dissect the long and winding road that is the NHL season. We'll talk to you next week.
Looking forward to it. Very looking forward to it.
That's Landon Ferraro. I'm John Shannon. Thanks for listening and watching to another edition of 100% Canucks.